To explain you what I'm doing here, I started to have a look at the sun-faded grille and trying some polish and paint stripper to make the surface nice again. It has been resprayed with a really ugly black matte paint, and underneath is still the original factory paint, which I'm trying to recover. So today I want to make the grille look nicer, and later on I want to have a look at the headlights and the corner lights, where also a lot of work is waiting. Next up, I'm going to try to polish up this corner light. I'm going to use like this plastic polishing for it. Let's see how well it works out. First I'm going to give it a good wash, and then I will try to polish it up a little bit. On the good side, nothing is cracked, nothing is broken. So yeah, let's start by cleaning it a bit. And this is how it looks after a few hours of elbow grease. Shiny, almost like new, ready to go back onto the car. And here, just for comparison, before and after, with like before, the left side, left corner, corner lamp, and here the right side that has already been polished. So, as you can see, most parts of the front mask have been polished. They look shiny again. The only exception is this right headlight here, that still needs a bit of work. Initially I hoped that those headlights just need a good cleaning, but looking at it closely after disassembly, I realized they have a problem. Namely, the reflector inside the headlight. Can you see that? It's moving around, and the reason for that is that inside there's like a plastic clip that holds the reflector in place. It's old and it's broken, and there's no replacement part for it from Toyota. I think I can fix that by 3D printing it by myself, but to do that I first have to open the headlight housing. There's some glue between the plastic housing and the glass cover, so I'm going to put them into the oven to soften the glue, and then I should be able to open it. This is how the headlight looked like after opening up, and oh boy, it's so much worse than expected. The headlight casing has like UV light damage, so the plastic started to disintegrate on the inside. The clip was broken, I knew that before, but also the reflector, the paint was peeling, and it looked like in really bad condition. This headlight needs a complete rebuild. For reflectors, there's nothing you can do at home, so I decided to send it to a professional to have them properly recoated. It's worth noting that this kind of problems only affect the Zenki headlights. The Koki headlights are still available new, so you could just buy new ones. However, I wanted to keep the original headlights of my car, so I went the extra mile to make them nice and pretty again. So what I'm doing right now, I took the part that I have removed from the headlight. It's broken, but it's still good enough to get the dimensions of it. And then I'm going to use these dimensions to replicate it in a CAD tool to send it out for 3D printing. Doing this is actually not super trivial, because you have to consider the dimensions. You don't want a part to fit too loose or too tightly. You need to think about the heat that is generated by the headlights. Can your parts still be stable in like 60, 70, 80s, maybe 90 degrees? Also, what about stability? 3D printed parts are not as strong as the original ones, so you need to make some slight adjustments to make sure your part is going to be reliable. It took me a few attempts to get it right. I have little experience in that, but eventually I got a 3D printed part that looks good, that fits well, and that I can install. If your Levin headlights have the same problem as the broken clip, check the link in the description below, where I have linked both the 3D CAD model, an STL file, and some helpful instructions on how to print it. Check out the link in the description below. The reflectors are now sent out for recoating, and I've sent the 3D model of the clip to a 3D printing company. Time to work on something else. I want to do a bit more of metalwork today. The biggest problem that is still open to do on my 86 is the rear left wheel arch, where I want to start rebuilding the inner wheel arch. It's very, very rusty, as you can see. To fix that, I'm gonna start as usual by cutting out the dead metal, drilling out the spot welds, and the pieces that I had to remove from the car were actually pretty huge, super long pieces that were just too rusty to keep them. How did these fit together? This must have been somewhat like this. And these two ends probably have lined up somehow. And there is a big hole where I have no idea how the metal looked like. And down here is the second huge hole. So yeah, this part is gonna be easy, but over here is gonna be a big question mark. How this original looked like. You're probably already familiar with the next steps. Next is like to make a paper stencil, transfer that into metal and cut it out. Yeah, now you can see the shape of the inner fender transferred onto metal. The upper part ready to cut it out. For the wheel arch, the replacement metal sheet I have fabricated is pretty huge. It's almost 70 centimeters long, and adjusting it is very, very difficult and challenging. Not only because the piece is so big, but also because the shape is very complicated with the many curves and bends that the rear wheel arches have. So I have now fixed the outer fender with some magnets, and on the inside I attached the inner fender with these pliers, and I think this looks pretty good already. Let me show that to you. Can you see that? So over there in the back I need to fabricate another sheet metal, but I think for the wheel arch I think this fits nicely. Now I'll make some final adjustments and then I will weld this in the inner fender in. And then I'll continue here on the right side. Still a lot that needs to be fabricated. It took me a long time to get the dimensions right, but this is a part where you absolutely want to make sure you have the right dimensions. If you're off by a millimeter or two, the rear quarter panel or the rear wheel arches, the outer skin, will not fit properly. You'll have gaps, and adjusting that is going to be a super painful job. Bending and adjusting the metal is very time consuming, and if you want to bend and adjust your language skills, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video who helped me a lot, Babbel. Okay, I'm just joking, this video is not sponsored by anyone, sorry about that. So adjusting this metal piece is really, really important. You want to make sure that the dimensions are correct, because otherwise your outer wheel arches won't fit, and then you'll be in big trouble later on. For now, I'm not gonna finalize the butt welds on the inner wheel arch because I wanna keep the option open of adjusting the metal like a millimeter out or in or so when I do the final adjustment of the outer wheel arch. Also, I have today only fabricated the inner wheel arch for the round area, but the section that goes towards where the rear muffler goes, like the rear part of the wheel housing, I still need to refabricate that. And there's a high possibility that things don't fit perfectly and I still need to make some adjustments, so I'm not gonna weld everything through just yet. How I'm gonna fabricate the last parts, we'll have a look in the next video. For now, this is all I have for you this week. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye. So this is some more Super 86 nerd stuff, but I realized that there are two different types of Levin headlights. I originally thought I'll just buy another headlight so that I don't have the hassle of replacing the clip, but it had exactly the same problem. And I noticed this is a slightly different headlight. You can see the writing on this one. This is 65-60 watts. This one is the standard one, which is 60-55 watts. Turns out that this one is like a standard H4 light bulb, like halogen light bulb. And this is like some super unusual light bulb that was developed somehow before halogen became popular. So maybe this is from some super early spec Levins. I have no idea. Let me show you how this light bulb looks like. So yeah, looks quite different to a standard H4 bulb.